I don't know if you believe in signs from the universe, but since I decided to move, I've been seeing them everywhere. And for once, I'm actually listening.
I guess it won't play while I drive. Or will it? It will! I am trying a different view of where I'm putting the camera. Put it on the dash. I found a magnet thing that attaches to my my O snap thing. You are kind of stuck. Where are you stuck in my strap for my trash bag? But good morning, and welcome to another chapter of When the Universe Meets. There should be a new post today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, it's me, MzKimElaine, or Ms. Devious, or Ms. Devious Gaming. And I'm glad you made it here. I'm going to the gym. It is Monday the 1st. It is my first day of starting this new job. And I am pretty excited for it. My bank account is very sad. It's very, very sad. I need to work, and I can only reorganize my bedroom so many times, and I need a little bit more furniture to organize it more better. But yesterday the chapter that I talked about was that I posted about was about the men in my life and how they shaped my life from childhood to now. It wasn't really, I didn't really go into detail about it. I just kind of the content took me to where it took me. I never start these like oh, this is what I'm going to talk about today, right? So it kind of became these men, my dad, my papa, they're the men who shaped my life and shaped me into the person I am today. Most especially my dad. My dad did that for me. He sacrificed a lot, and I guess in a sense that's how I interpret love. Is how much a person would sacrifice for a person that they cared about. And it might be a messed up way of seeing it or understanding it, but that's how I grew up to understand love. Was what is this person willing to do to provide, to show that they love, care, anything like that. And my dad, Mark, he did a lot, and we didn't see him a lot, and it sucks because the little girl in me, and I'm sure in my siblings too, the little kids in them, all they wanted was his, affection, his attention. And unfortunately, because he worked so much, he was active duty Navy, and then he was also a security guard, I think, at the same time. Then when he got out, I think he was doing, he was working for Terminix as, I think, one of those guys that goes out to the houses and evaluates them. I don't really remember, but I knew he wasn't around a lot, and it was not entirely his fault. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was not an easy person to get along with. So, I understand why he had to work the way he had to work, but also he was old school. You know, he was used to working, and so maybe that's where I got some of my like work ethics from my parents, because my mom worked too, but there were some other things that dabbled in there, and I don't know if I'm gonna delve into all of that because it will piss some people off. But it yeah, it was a time where my parents, they had to work. We lived in San Diego. They had to work. I actually started working under the table a long time ago in retail, and then I started getting into like trouble, and so this is how I knew that my dad really did care. And I've told this story to so many people that have meant a lot to me, and I really wanted them to understand like who I was as a kid, the upbringing, or not the upbringing, but like the things that I went through as a kid. When I was younger, about like 15 to 16 maybe, I started hanging out with my best friend and her sister, and we started getting into things that was nothing a 15 or 16-year-old should have ever gotten into. And those substances made me stay awake for days on end. And I was gone for maybe 2 or 3 days. Didn't call home. We didn't have cell phones at the time. So didn't call home, didn't come home, I don't think I had a pager at the time either. None of it. I didn't do any of it. And I finally came home. I think it was day 3 that I finally came home, but like very, very little sleep. And at this point, my fuck it all was acting like it. I didn't care at all. I was stupid. I was high, and I I got home. From what I recall, my dad was like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "Out." Like teenagers out. Yeah, why do you care? And so I, was just kind of brushing everything off. And he was like, "Do you know how worried I was?" And I was like, "No, I didn't think he'd care." And that was dumb of me to say because I knew he would care. But like, substances, they'll do that to you. And so I was like, "I didn't think he'd care." And he was like, "You didn't think I would care?" And I was like, "No." And my mom was there too. And like, my mom and I wouldn't get along at that time. Like I was really irritated with her because like I think right before this is when she ended up like leaving to Fresno, like maybe like months before this, maybe a year before this. So I still had resentment towards her because of it. Because I felt like the ground beneath me was going to be taken, and I think I think that's why I don't like uncertainty. You know what I mean? Like I don't like uncertainty because it reminds me of that feeling of like, shit, am I safe? Am I good? Am I gonna be, okay? Is you know what I mean? Like, I think that's where my fear of uncertainty comes from. It's from times like that when I was a kid of like, well, I mean, who am I gonna live with? Wow. I didn't realize that was where the foundations of everything, where it comes from, like where I to feel stable, I think it came from that moment. And in that moment, my instability was what my mom did, but my stability was what my dad did. And my dad showing me like, no, you matter to me. You're staying. And that was huge. It was huge for me. So it's funny because I've recorded a lot of like chapters before this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this weekly, and I'm going to build off of that, because it is, now I'm finding it's important to me. And as y'all know, I'm starting to, go with the flow, read the signs, trust the universe, you know, uh, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I now understand why it is that instability scares me. The unknown doesn't scare me. The instability, the lack of a foundation, is what scares me, and what makes me feel like I need to control something. And there are times where I do, I have issues with, like, I have OCD moments, and they're pretty bad sometimes. So yeah, wow, good, great. Anyways, so my mom was there. Circle back. My mom was there when I came home after this 2-3 day stint of being awake, and I was just like, "What is she doing here?" And he was like, "She's worried about you." And I was like, "Right, like, and again, substances." So my dad says, "You're grounded," and I'm like, "Okay." So I go to my room, and it is the worst time in my life. There's a lot of, like, I saw things that I was having conversations with people that weren't there because I was awake for so long. And don't dabble in the substances, people. It's not good. Not good. And now, I mean, I'm not an addict. I wasn't an addict, but I felt myself wanting to go back. You know what I mean? And like I learned way back then that I don't want something to control me. I want to control me. I want to control me. I want to be in charge of my own actions, my own responsibilities, that kind of thing. I want to do that. That's for me. And so when I was very young, at that age, 16, I was like, I don't want something to control me. I want to. So I think like a couple weeks, maybe a few days later, I don't remember the timeline exactly, but shortly after that, I go up to LA to visit family. My mom takes me, my brother, my sisters to go up there. And I talked to my Aunt Elisa. My Aunt Elisa is, she checks on me. We grew up together. We're very close in age. And so obviously she asks, "Hey, how you doing? How's everything going?" And I was like, from what I recall, and Aunt Elisa, if you're watching this, if you ever watch this, comment below, please, because I don't remember exactly the conversation that we had. But what led up to having that conversation is what I just said, is me dabbling in substances. So I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, I'm just not doing good. I'm like hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I'm getting in trouble, and not doing well in school and stuff like that. She's like, "Why don't you come out here?" And I was like, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, like, I can do that. And I was like, I know I should. He's like, this is my life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be dead, in San Diego. Like, I was not only hanging out with my best friend and her sister, but like I was hanging out with like gangsters, and not like in the way that y'all think, but like I would talk to them. You know, they were everywhere in Eastside San Diego. So I didn't want to fall into that lifestyle, and so when she said that, I was like, I'll ask my dad, because my dad was my guardian. Uh, I don't know, like the paperwork behind it and all that stuff. Like I don't know if him and my papa signed some papers. I don't know. I know that when I moved to LA, my papa signed some papers so that I can go to school out there and finish out my high school out there at Eagle Rock Junior Senior High, and I had the greatest time. Like I had no other responsibilities other than to go to school. I mean, like, I lived with my grandma, and then, like, her sisters, they helped raise me, too, and, my great-grandma was there, and, like, just, I was taken care of, and I could shed the armor, you know what I mean? I could kind of be a kid again, and, I just had a really, really, really good senior year. I was in choir both semesters. I loved it. Loved it. It was my favorite thing. We were in performances in choir, and also my favorite thing. But what made me sad was that I don't remember if family made it out to my performances. And then when it came to my graduation, my parents, they didn't come out. And I don't know why they didn't come out. And maybe other family members can elaborate more, like in the comments, or just tell me, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't come out for my graduation, but that hurt a lot. And I know that, you know, my dad, again, living in San Diego, supporting a family of, at the time, it was 3, because I was out of the house, and it was my sister, Jennifer. But what I was saying was, my sister, Jennifer, Jeffrey, and Dawson were in the care of my dad. And so I don't know if there was a reason that they know of why they didn't come to my high school graduation. And that hurt a lot. So me, as an adult, made it a point to not miss those moments from my own kids. And for the most part, I didn't. Except for, like, you know, the smaller ones, like maybe 6th grade graduation or something like that for my youngest. I don't know if they had a 6th grade graduation or whatever it is before, like after elementary school, before middle school. I don't know if they had like graduation. So that's why I'm here in Virginia. Is I don't want to miss any more time. And I missed Alyssa's college graduation, and that was it was hard for me to decide which one to do, but I had already obligated myself to work EDC that year at the same time, and I was hoping that it wasn't the same weekend, but it was. And there was no way that I could swing the time. There's no way that I could swing the time to do both. And I mean, I watched her graduation virtually. I had it on TV, and I was getting ready for working ADC, and I'm fucking crying. but I wasn't physically there. And so, yeah, the men in my life have shaped my life in different ways. And now I can kind of see it with my relationships with men. I could see that when life feels unstable. So yes, in my relationships, the when it feels unstable, I feel unsafe. And that's something that I've come to realize somewhat lately. And the unknowns are still scary, but really the unknowns is like not knowing what's going on, that kind of unknown. And not feeling included in, like right now I'm in a long distance relationship, and my other long distance relationships were like I had constant access, and with this one, with Rooster, it's not like we're not attached at the hip, so to speak, when we're apart. When we're together, aside from him having to work, like we're usually together, and we seem to take it all in. You know what I mean? Like we're there in the moment. But when we're apart, sometimes I need a little bit of that like inclusion or that reassurance of like, hey, they're still part of my day. You know what I mean? So when I don't know what's happening, when I don't know what's going on, it makes me feel a bit unstable. But we are building a different kind of foundation. I feel like he's helping me be more secure with myself, which I am. But when there's somebody else involved, sometimes I tend to focus on them more than me. And so I think indirectly he's teaching me how to feel more secure with myself. And I'm okay with that. I don't know if that's what his intention is, but I feel like him and I are building he and I are building a better foundation for our future, as far as, I'm not just rushing into it, you know what I mean? And he's not just rushing into it. Did we rush into this relationship? I don't think so. I think that for a long time there's been this little playful banter between us, playful, like, I don't know, we didn't flirt, but there was a something. Like, there was something that kept drawing me to him, even way back when. We weren't ready for each other, So, yeah, the men in my life have played a significant role in who I am today. There are probably plenty of unresolved childhood wounds related to my papa, my bio dad. But a lot of those got resolved when I found out the truth about the situation of how I came to live with my mom versus going with my dad to Japan. But that will be a conversation for another chapter, the next chapter, which again, I did not know that this is where this was going to go. But I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for tuning in to this chapter of When the Universe Speaks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all the things. And until the next chapter, are you willing to trust the sign?